Romans chapter 8. There is therefore no condemnation to them which are in Jesus Christ, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. For the law of the Spirit of life in Jesus Christ hath made me free from the law of sin and death. For what the law could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh, God, sending his own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin, condemned sin in the flesh, that the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the Spirit, the things of the Spirit. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please God. But ye are not in the flesh, but in the Spirit, if so be that the Spirit of God dwell in you. Now if any man have not the Spirit of Christ, he is none of his.
Hey, Shalom. All praises to you, Yahweh Hashem. Yahweh Shai, Bashem, Rakakwadash. Much mercy to you sincere brothers out there, the true house of David. All you brothers out there that can understand this new covenant that's moving in the Spirit, that understand that we are governed by the Spirit and not by the old law of Moses. I'll give you a complete breakdown of Romans 8 with understanding. That's what we're going to go into today. So the law of the new covenant is the law of life. And the old Moses law was likened unto the ministration of death. So by understanding there are two opposites. There are two totally opposite covenants. That's why the Lord said don't mix the two together. You see, that's why a lot of you guys in this last day, a lot of you guys in particular dealing with this new covenant, you're all mixed up. You don't know if you should totally leave Moses alone. You don't know if you should really believe in a new covenant. A lot of you guys are of the world and of the flesh. And before I get into this lesson, I went by one of these reprobate pages. I think it was Elder Tahart, and he was talking about Isaiah 4:1. So all you guys in that carnal Isaiah 4:1 spirit, you should have more than one woman and teaching, talking about that's part of the new covenant doctrine. All you guys are of the world teaching that shit. Because Paul told you that a bishop, he should be blameless, a husband of one wife. So a lot of you guys are not even following the Spirit. You're following your own spirit, looking to be seen and recognized of men. That's what a lot of you guys are. That's what spirit you guys are in the new covenant. You're in the spirit of the camps. And guys are mad at us because we identify that guys are of the fucking world. For real, for real. And we fucking cut guys off, and we don't have no ties with guys. So guys are upset. Well, let you be upset, because the understanding of this new covenant is not for carnal minds. The scriptures just tell you in Romans, I'm going to go into it, because you can liken Romans 8, Paul's breaking down Romans 8. You could compare that to the old, and you could compare that to the new law. It's real simple. You know, this is simple unto us. You know, we're not stumbling like a lot of you guys. You don't know if you should put your garments on and go to the streets. You don't know if you should believe in a new covenant all the way. You don't understand this. You're carnal. You talking about, see, this ministry, while Paul was telling you if you have a woman and don't act like you have none, is because this is really heavy in the mind. And plus, this ain't the time for us to be worried about all types of fucking women and shit like that. I'm gonna just be real. So you guys that are in that Isaiah 4:1 spirit, I seen Apostle Hart, he had a video talking about Isaiah 4:1. All you guys are in a fucking carnal fucking mind teaching the Bible. You're in a carnal cartoon fucking understanding, unbelieving spirit in these days. That's what spirit you guys are in. You see, and you can't agree with us because us few brothers are of the Spirit, and a lot of you guys are of the flesh. So this is part of the final separation. That a lot of guys are of the old covenant that say they're teaching the new. And a lot of you guys, you hate us over here. So we're fulfilling major prophecies. Being kicked out of synagogues, being hated of all men, men speaking evil of us, teaching the Lord's doctrine, teaching his testimony. We're fulfilling that. We didn't add or take away. We're fulfilling that. A lot of you guys are still in the flesh. You guys are carnal. Talking about how many women you should have. I mean, you guys are carnal, man. You guys are carnal. They was not teaching that in the New Testament. They wasn't teaching that shit. There was no arguments about men being seen in those old garments. That's not a part of new covenant. Guys are making that an issue. Guys are making an issue out of shit like we had to be seen so we could be justified in the flesh, like you guys think you're justified because people see you. So we have to be, you know. But I just want to say that because a lot of guys, they're carnal. They're not of the new covenant. And another thing I'm going to say is that how we're teaching, and it's the truth, how we're teaching us few brothers that's really teaching, it's different from all you fucking guys that say you teach the new covenant, because all the rest of you guys, you think you still under the old law of Moses and shit. You know, all you guys are just like them men that was in Acts 15 that was trying to get men to be circumcised, to be justified, so you could be of God. A lot of you guys are in that spirit that you have to keep the old to be justified of the new. You all are in that spirit. So yes, we separate ourselves, and it is a distinct difference in how we're teaching than the rest of you guys are teaching. That's why you guys have to repent. Well, a lot of you guys are not even of it. You crept in unaware to try to bring men back under the old law and how to do it of the old law. Because you guys don't understand the new, because you're not of the new. So this is where we're at in these last days. A lot of you guys, you're carnal, man. You're of the world like a motherfucker. And you get mad at us, brothers, because we fucking cut guys off and we separate ourselves. We don't have nothing to do with you guys that are teaching the new covenant, mixing the old with the new. And you're in a carnal mind. You can't fully understand the new covenant. Your mind ain't fucking right. Talking about women and shit. You guys are carnal, man. Anyway, I'm gonna go into Romans 8. Yeah, and it is a difference between what we're teaching and what the rest of you guys that say you're teaching the new covenant. It's a total fucking difference. So this is Romans 8:1. We're gonna go into Romans 8, and I'm gonna get through this whole chapter. I'm gonna break it up. They'll probably get this part out the way, and then a little later finish the rest of it. And Lord willing, it is going to give you more understanding of the new covenant, because the new covenant and the old covenant is just like what Paul is explaining right here in Romans 8. And it's simple. If you're of the old, you're not of the new. If you're of the new, you're not of the old. If you're of the old and say you're of the new, we're going to see that you're of the old, because you're bringing the old into the new, and can't nobody say shit to you, because ultimately you don't agree with God. You don't really agree. You don't really agree with us. You don't agree with God. All right. So you are not justified by keeping the old laws of Moses. Yahushua is over the law. All right. It's crazy. You guys don't understand that. So guys, this is what guys actually think. Just like with these camps, they actually think they're justified by being seen in those old covenant garments on the street. They think that makes them justified, and they don't even really believe in the new covenant like that. It's heavy. It's heavy. So the law of the spirit is an unseen law, which you have to be of the spirit to really adhere to that unseen law. So if you're not really of the unseen law, if you're not really of faith and of spirit, you have to be seen. You have to think you're justified of the flesh. That's what you think. You think your works actually justify you. And the grace is you being under Yahushua. If you're not under the Lord, if you're not actually of God, you're not under no grace. You guys with that false prophet grace period shit. That's the world shit. You guys, all you guys are of the world. That's what we're seeing in this last day. And there's only a few of us that's teaching this sincere, with a sincere intent to give you understanding so you can actually repent unto the new covenant. You guys are teaching fucking women and teaching you have to be seen and telling us and all this carnal shit. Is everything, that whole argument is carnal. It's all on some old covenant. Oh, you got to remember the old covenant. It is, you guys, you have no understanding. So at this point too, I want to say, a person that is of the old, they cannot comprehend the new. It tells you that in what was that, 1 Corinthians 2? They a carnal man cannot understand the things of the spirit because he is spiritually discerned. The Lord have blocked you from really seeing the new covenant. That's why you guys are of Isaiah 4:1. That's why you guys are stuck on the camp shit of being seen in garments and shit like that. Now, you could keep that shit on your own, but you're not justified by being seen in garments. But a lot of you actually think that you're being justified by being seen. That's what you actually think, because you're in the flesh. It's heavy. Romans 8:1, it says, there is therefore no condemnation to them that are in Yahushua Mashiach, who walk not after the flesh, but after the spirit. Who walk not after the flesh, not after the spirit. So when you walking after the spirit, you're walking after the new law, not the old law. The flesh is of the old law. The old law is of bondage. And the scripture tells you in Galatians that there are many desolate, and there are only a few that are, matter of fact, that are the husband. Matter of fact, let me read that. That's why the guys are talking shit and just bearing all type of false witness, just saying random, it's heavy. But that's crazy, because once you understand this new covenant, guys that are of the flesh, they cannot understand the new covenant like that. And it's crazy because you got guys that are old bottles. They're telling you that they're old bottles, and they can't fully understand the new. You might understand certain aspects, but like deep aspects and the deeper understanding, guys don't have it. You see, this is where we really separate. The understanding that we have separates us from guys that are carnal. So if you're carnal, we have nothing to do. The spirit has nothing to do. The spirit is at enmity with the flesh, bro. So guys are of the flesh. We'll go Galatians 4 and 22. It says, for it is written that Abraham had two sons, by one a bondmaid, the other by a free woman. It says, but who was of the bondmaid was born after the flesh, the bondwoman was born after flesh, but he of the free woman was by the promise. And this is the allegory, which there are two covenants, one from Mount Sinai that generated to bondage, which is Agar. For this is Agar at Mount Sinai in Arabia, answer to Jerusalem. Now it is a bondage with her children. But Jerusalem, which is free, which is of the spirit, which is the mothers of us all. So the ones that are of the flesh, they're of the old covenant. They're of the carnal. So they can't totally understand new. They can't. That's why guys are so much against us, because we're not like a lot of you guys. The majority of you guys say you're teaching the covenant, you're carnal. You're just like these guys in these camps. And it's showing. It shows so bad too. It shows so bad too, man. It's heavy. Yeah, so we're fulfilling prophecy. We're hated of all men. We've been kicked out the synagogue. We have the testimony of Yahushua, which is teaching the Lord. That's all we teach. We don't teach men that have multiple women and Isaiah 4:1. We don't teach that carnal shit. That shit's carnal. Are you guys teaching that bullshit? You see, in teaching our people, you have to be seen. That's not a part of the new covenant. You guys ain't a part of this. You just crept into this, not fully even understanding it. It's heavy, and it's being shown. So it's like, yes, you guys can teach whatever you want to teach, but as long as we're teaching and what we're doing, what we're teaching really separates us from anybody that say they're teaching the new covenant. They really do. Now, Galatians 4:26, but Jerusalem which is above is free, which is the mothers of us all. For it is written, thou bearing that bearest not, break forth and cry, that travaileth not. For the desolate have many more children than she which have a husband. So the desolate is the many more is the two parts that's been cut off going back to Zechariah. Now the Lord tells you that in John 3 because he said men were already condemned because they don't believe. So guys are condemned now because they don't believe in the new covenant fully. You see, you can't be meet in the middle with the new covenant, keeping the old and keeping the new. You're mixing the two. So you believe a little bit in the new covenant, then you believe in the old. You guys are of the world. It's heavy. Yes, we separate from you guys. You guys are of the flesh. That's why you hate us so bad. You guys are in the same spirit. They were in the spirit of Acts. They hated Paul for teaching the new covenant, telling you that you wasn't justified of the old at all. You're not justified of the old at all. So you could believe in the new and technically not even fucking understand the old. That's what they were doing in Acts. Men grew up Gentiles, not even under the old law of Moses, but they believed in Paul and Yahushua, and they were of God. It's something you guys don't understand. It's heavy. And the laws is broken down very clear in the new covenant. It's very clear. And it's clear a lot of you guys are not of the new law that's teaching the new covenant. The majority of you fucking guys, all right? You cartoon women teaching guys over there, all right? All you carnal motherfuckers. It says, but Jerusalem, which above is free, is the mother of us all. That's right. And so it says, for it is written, rejoice thou bearest not, that break forth and cry, thou that travailest, for the desolate have many more children than she which have a husband. So that is the two parts that were cut off, the many more that are desolate, without the spirit, without understanding. Yeah, people can teach, but they don't really have understanding. So they're not in the spirit. They're against the spirit. You're not against us. You're against the spirit. You're not against us. You're against the spirit. You're not against us. You're against the spirit. All right? You just mad because who the Lord set up to teach you this ain't who you want it to be. But that's your fucking problem. It says, now we brethren, as Isaac was, are the children of the promise. See? But them that was born after the flesh prosecuteth him that is born after the spirit. Look at us. We're being prosecuted, hated, left out, mistreated. You see? So Romans 8:1, that's 8 and 2. It says, for the law of the spirit of Yahushua Mashiach. It says, for the law of the spirit in Yahushua Mashiach had made me free from the law of sin and death. So we are free from the law of sin and death, from the law of sin and death. The scriptures tell you in 1 Corinthians that is the law, the ministry of death. I'm gonna grab this too. You guys have no understanding. So we're not gonna argue with guys that don't have an understanding like that. Guys are carnal, using this for women. You're carnal, man. You know, you're not in the spirit. You're of the old, man. It's crazy. And then you're not even teaching the gospel. You're teaching your own shit. Paul didn't want teaching women or teaching you how to be seen in garments. They were teaching you the new. Oh my goodness, bro. It's heavy. So all you guys are like coming together because you're all alike. You're all carnal. That's why you guys are coming together. You're not coming together really giving me an edification on the new covenant. You're coming together just being carnal, and you're really against the new covenant. It's heavy. It's heavy, bro. So that ministry of death has nothing to do with this ministry of reconciling us back unto God. You only being reconciled through the new covenant, man. Oh my goodness, man. Let me read this, man. Oh shit. 2 Corinthians 5:18. All things are a power who have reconciled to himself by Yahushua Mashiach and have given to us the ministry of reconciliation. So you're only reconciled through the new covenant. You guys that are of the old, you're not reconciled unto God. You're in the evil old covenant spirit, and it's heavy too. So Yahushua made us free from that old covenant law. This is what Romans is explaining to you. It's plain right here in Romans, man. You guys want to argue about? It's simple. This is simple, man. But it's a stumbling block unto you if you're not of the Lord. And all you guys have to come together because you're of the world, man. You know? Or you guys have to come together and go. That's what you have to do. The bundles of tares. You see? Yeah, here it is right here. 2 Corinthians 3:7. Yeah, it's heavy, bro. It's administration of death. 2 Corinthians 3:7. But if the ministration of death written and engraven in stone was glorious, so the ministration of death, that was the old law of Moses. A lot of you guys are your spirit clings to that old law, so that shows you who you are. Isaiah 4:1. That shit's carnal. You need your mind to really understand this law. That's why you guys' minds are all fucked up, because you're worried about women and carnal garments and being seen like hymns. You're worried about that. That's why you can't comprehend the whole heavier side of the spirit, because you guys are fucking carnal. Yes, we separate from you guys. That's what the Lord told us to do. Guys are sinning, man, trying to bring you back to the old law. Like you got to keep the law to make them happy or to be of God. This is how guys are moving. They really trying to get you in the mind like you got to keep the old law to be of God. That's what spirit guys are in. I know brothers see it, but that's what spirit, these carnal guys are on. And in these camps, and these guys, the majority of guys teaching New Covenant, they're carnal, man. They crept into this, they're not of it. They thought it was a new fad. But now, many are beginning to see that the majority of guys that are teaching, they're carnal. 2 Corinthians 3:7. But if the ministration of death written and graven in stones was more glorious, because this chapter tells you that the new covenant is written in our hearts. Let's go up. 2 Corinthians 3:3. For as much as you are manifestly declared to be the epistles of the anointed ministered by us, written with ink, but if the Spirit, it says, written not with ink, but the Spirit of the living power, not in tables of stone, but in the fleshly tables of the heart. So this new covenant is only written in few men's hearts. That means the Spirit is in us. Before we were born, we were of God, bro. So we could understand this. It's plain. So guys that don't understand what we're teaching, and they don't understand the new covenant or the Lord and none of that, they're not of God. They're of the old. Now, can they teach you a bunch of shit? Yeah. But they don't have nothing to do with the new. Or repenting or giving you understanding. They don't have nothing to do with the old. Jumping back down, 2 Corinthians 3:7. But if the ministration of death was written and graven in stone was glorious, so that the children of Israel could not steadfastly behold the face of Moses for the glory of his countenance, which glory was to be done away, how not the ministration of the Spirit, rather, it says, how shall not the ministration of the Spirit be rather glorious? For if the ministration of condemnation be glory, much more do the ministration of righteousness exceed in glory. So this new covenant, it exceeds Moses. It's just that a lot of you guys are just really, really deep down, you're not really of it. That's why you can't really understand it. Romans is a very heavy chapter, because it sums up the old and the new, and it breaks them up. It's heavy. Romans 8:3. For what the law could not do, and it was weak through the flesh. God sending his own son in like mindedness in sinful flesh for a sign condemns sin in the flesh. And that's what we're doing in this time. So the heaviest transgression in this time is being outside of Yahweh Shai. Because if you're outside Yahweh Shai, then you're not even in the Spirit. So this is something you have to believe in your mind. You have to believe internally. It's nothing you have to prove on the outside. Certain men were of God before they were born. Certain men were of God before they were born. Certain men were of God before they were born. So it ain't nothing we have to prove to you carnal jackasses out there. All right? It says, for the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us. Because we're already of it already. who walk not after the flesh, but after the spirit. So we're not walking after the old law, only after the new law. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. There you go. So that old law that you're under and you're keeping, and you're in the middle, you believe a little bit of the new covenant, then you believe in the old law, you're of death. All right. Guys are in a carnal mind. It says, because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God, for it is not subject to the law of God. So that old covenant law is not subject to the spirit. So a lot of you guys are not subject to the spirit because you're of the old. You're the children of the bondwoman. It says, because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it's not subject to the law of God, neither indeed it can be. So they that are in the flesh cannot please God. So that's why we don't agree. Us few brothers, we don't agree with a lot of you guys of the new covenant. That's why a lot of you guys, you hate us. You guys in these camps. Why? Because we're teaching two different things. And certain guys that say they're teaching new covenant, we're still teaching our doctrine. The Lord's doctrine is way different from you guys. What we're teaching is totally different. So we love how you guys are teaching and that you're not even of it. Keep doing it. Because everybody sees the difference. You see, and you know the difference. That's why you hate us. But let me get out of here. I'll finish Romans 8 a little bit later. The law of the spirit is different from the law of the flesh. The law of the flesh was the old covenant, and the law of the spirit is the new covenant. The new covenant has nothing to do with the old. The spirit is only in the new. And a lot of guys are not of the new. Hey, with that, I'll see you on the next one. With that, hey, shalom.